Rakesh?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you, Rakesh. Welcome, everybody. My name is Subhash, like I said, and today we're talking about Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop, which is native to Microsoft, a cloud computing platform over Microsoft Azure. We all know the current situation in the market is not that great for an end user community to be in the corporate office work efficiently. Yeah. Thus, keeping in those outbreak situations in mind, we today will be talking about the cloud platform offered from Microsoft, that is the WVD, Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop. Now, information technology has seen significant changes over the period. The desire to work from home class has now become the new normal. Now, this is all times dynamic, which once we thought could be a dream has now become the reality and has forced the industry to move all its workforce remotely and securely. Working and doing business remotely, like I said earlier, was once a thought, you know, a high-end computing system with quality security is the typical environment of corporate office, which is not possible in day-to-day life of an end-user community. Technology can play a vital role in reducing the impact of the COVID-19 on people and organizations, irrespective of the situation. Yeah. This act of God crisis has put the industry to a situation that one has to adopt a method of doing business remotely or vice versa. Resources and support for all our customers impacted by COVID-19. Nobody thought in class. Yeah, we all plan for future, but planning ahead of time with the technology is time consuming. With Windows Virtual Desktop, this is easily achievable, scalable, and the technology has given the benefit to the end user community to access their resources in a go. Being as that, right from the place where you are, just using the internet, you can get into the corporate data network, access your resources, collaborate with your team, just over a sip of coffee, while working at home. All these resources that are hosted over the cloud platform can be accessed remotely, easily, securely, and in a much efficient way. We are together working to ensure that the end user community experience is enhanced and a user friendly environment is always offered to our customers to enhance their experience and make them happy in all of the complex working situations. Remote working nowadays has for an IT perspective to achieve that goal. But as I mentioned earlier, and I've been talking about from the beginning, it has been the new normal. The industry has shifted from the conventional working environment from a corporate office. It has now moved to a home office method, ensuring that our community that are like people like you and me and the end user are working from home healthy and enjoying that all their tasks are achieved after the defined timeline. We at Law IT Services can certainly map those pinpoint areas which can help the community work efficiently and scale better. Windows Virtual Desktop is generally available worldwide. It has brought the technology to a new normal environment wherein the best virtual desktop experience is delivered over Azure platform. Now, here's what you can do when you run Windows Virtual Desktop on Azure. Deliver the only multi-session Windows 10 experience. By that I mean you can set up a multi-session Windows 10 deployment that delivers a full Windows 10 with scalability. Virtualized Microsoft 365 apps.
Subhash,
For, Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I believe your voice is breaking a lot, and neither of our attendees can understand what you're trying to say. So, could you probably look for a better connection, or maybe exit the session and join once again?
I'm hardwired. Am I audible now?
No, it's still breaking. The voice is breaking a lot.
Okay, let me just disconnect and reconnect the session. Okay. In a moment, I'll
Yeah, please.
rejoin the session. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi,
Yes,
Rakesh.
Subhash, can you try now?
Just 1 second, yeah. Rakesh, is it any better? Rakesh? Rakesh, are you there?
No, Subhash. I think your voice is still breaking a lot. Can you just check in the Q&A tab, because I believe most of our viewers, they're not able to understand.
Yeah, the questions are related to the voice. It is cutting off back and forth. Let me reconnect, Rakesh. Rakesh, am I audible? Hi, Rakesh. I've rejoined the session. Am I audible? Is it any better?
Subhash, can you try once again? Can you speak something? I'm not able to really catch
Am I
on.
audible now?
Yes, you're audible, but then again, the voice is breaking at
So are you
multiple
saying
intervals.
whenever I start talking, you hear feedback? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry?
Okay. So you're saying whenever I start talking, you hear feedback, the words are getting disconnected or the sound is chopping?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Subhash, I think because issue is not coming to a solution right now, should we postpone the session? Probably we can ask our attendees to join back in a later session. We will um, change the date for the session, and again take a session for the same?
So what time do you think is feasible for our attendees on this session?
Uh, I think I'll have to check with Junaid on that and come back to you. Or probably, as Mr. Ahmed is suggesting, if you can talk slowly and go through the slides. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, certainly we can give it a try.
Sure, all right, let's give it a try.
Isn't the speech too fast to hear, or is it the background that is
Well,
distorting?
I believe there's a certain lag
I
from your
see a
end.
message. Yeah, I see a message still saying low voice because I tested out my speech in the room now. It was clear to my audience, but I think so. Could be some technical glitch over the connection.
Right, that could
Because
be
on
it.
top of my yeah, on top of my voice, talking too loud.
No, the voice, I mean,
Maybe
the
that
volume is not an issue. It's only that the voice is getting chopped off at multiple intervals. So I think
yeah,
we'll
it is
try
the
again in
connection.
some time, and we'll come up with a revised date for the session.
Yeah, I'll wait for your feedback, Rajesh. Guys, I'm sorry about that. We all have to hold this session due to technical glitch. Your feedback appreciated, guys. Thank you, Rajesh. Wait for your email.
Thanks so much. Once again, really sorry everyone for the technical issue. We'll come back to the same session, and we have captured the details. We will be sending out the revised invite with a new date to you very soon enough. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and for joining the session. We really regret wasting your time. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Rajesh, and thank you, everyone. Sorry about that.
Thank.
Hi Ronak, so let's start the session. Okay, we have
Hmm.
15 people now. Let's start the session.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So you can take it forward.
Yes. All right. I'll just share my screen, guys, before beginning. Rakesh, can you please make me the presenter?
Yeah, I made you a presenter. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. All right, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar of Windows Virtual Desktop. Thank you for connecting. Today, we are here to have a short understanding on one of the most in-demand products and technologies of the Microsoft 365 suite, precisely in these
Ronak,
times of
sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. Okay, we are hearing some beep sound in the background.
beep sound.
Yeah. Now it's
What?
not there, but when you are presenting, there was some beep sound. It's not there. Maybe you can try now once more. Let's see. Okay.
My screen is all visible, right?
Yeah, screen is visible, but when you started, there was some sound coming in the background, but now it's not there. So let's go start
Okay.
again. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
welcome everybody to the webinar for Windows Virtual Desktop. We are here to discuss on one of the most in-demand and one of the most versatile technologies of the Microsoft 365 suite, which is uh, something which we can say as the need of the hour precisely in these times of remote working. Guys, during this particular COVID-19 situation where we are adopting to the modern workplace, this is something that was projected to come in the near future, but we never expected it to come so abruptly. And thanks to the pandemic, that we are now adapting to this particular new normal, wherein We are trying to enable all our users, at the same time our IT infrastructure, to work remotely to maintain the business continuity and the response time, in order to make sure that the best of the productivity is coming out. When it comes to our Windows virtual desktop, or when it comes to our IT infrastructure, I would say, precisely to start off with, when I have my users working remotely, it is not always possible by default that my IT infrastructure is, capable of serving my entire workforce remotely. In that case, scaling my IT infrastructure more by every passing day to meet the need of the users is something which is not possible, obviously, due to the downfall that we have seen in the past few months, or you can say all throughout the 2020. That is where Windows Virtual Desktop comes in the picture, guys. That is where Windows Virtual Desktop comes in the IT environment, and is the one which is suggested to be deployed. Working and doing business remotely is the main idea of implementing Windows Virtual Desktop, and this particular thing is helping organizations across the globe to maintain the swift responses from the end users, having the most high performance computes in place, accessing the resources to the best of their requirement, and making sure that the complete productivity of the end user is maintained without sacrificing on the collaboration or the security of the data or the corporate information. Guys, Windows Virtual Desktop is something which comes with four key features. One, for the first time ever, you have a client operating system which is enabled with multiple remote sessions, wherein you have your Windows 10, which can have multiple RDP sessions at the same time. It is optimized to work with Office 365 Professional Plus on all the remote sessions. It allows you to migrate your native on-prem remote desktop services to your WVD platform, and it is deployable and scalable in minutes. So when I say you want to add additional resources, or you want to remove resources due to less number of users using it, scaling up and scaling down is something which can be done in some minutes for the users. In our native, hello, hello, okay. No, sir. I was seeing myself connected. Sorry, your Windows 10. Hello.
Uh,
Okay.
Hi, Ronak.
Yes.
Can you start from the second slide if you don't mind?
Here.
Yeah, from the second slide.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can go ahead. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
basically, it is from the beginning itself.
Yeah, somebody is saying that they were not able to hear from the beginning. So let's start from the beginning if you don't mind.
Fine. All right. So while virtual desktop, this is precisely been introduced in an early phase as compared to what we were expecting, but still, the solution itself is much more stable as compared to what it was expected to be. Today, while we are trying to stabilize our environment with modern workplace, Windows Virtual Desktop, security, collaboration, and these aspects become the primary component to be delivered, so that we can have our users connected to our environment as and when required, still working with all the services in place. Adapting to the modern workplace and remote working today requires the end users to have a powerful system based on the profile that they might be working on, but it is not possible that each time we are working in this kind of an environment, we deliver the end users with such systems. That is where Windows Virtual Desktop comes into the place, wherein you give the user a compute instance from the cloud. They access the compute instance from that particular environment, have an access to all their resources that they are working on, and then finally, once it is released, your data goes back into the cloud and is saved securely over there. Windows Virtual Desktop is precisely in order to satisfy the need of every business, and that need is going to be with regards to your um, productivity, instance for the users, enterprise mobility, and a lot more. Windows Virtual Desktop today, or any kind of a remote solution that we have that is being offered, is in order to make sure that every specific business and the workers or the employees for that particular business are able to serve the requirement of the organization without sacrificing on the collaboration or the security. By default, the major advantage of WVD is that for the first time, you have your Windows 10 with a multi-session operating system. So up till now, Windows 10 was a single RDP based OS. Now what you have is a multiple RDP based operating system for your Windows uh, 10 as a client operating system. It has complete support and integration for your Microsoft Office 365 Professional Plus. At the same time, you have seamless migration options which can be used to migrate your data from the native Microsoft RDS services. While you have these options in place, the best feature that you can consider for WVD is that you can seamlessly scale up and scale down based on the requirement of your organization. So at a point in time when I have more number of users connecting, I can probably have my environment scaled up in no time. And once the utilization is done, I make sure to scale down the environment in order to make sure that I'm only paying for the components or the resources that are actually consumed. So by default, while we talk about Windows RDS services, the native RDS services that we have, the primary thing that we had to focus on was Windows Server RD Session Host was scalable with a multi-session operating system platform. At the same time, it was supporting Windows 32 applications that we had in place. Also, it supported line of business applications that are my custom applications that have been deployed. And it had long-term servicing channels, meaning the operating system used to be updated after a particular interval which was really long. On the other hand, we had Windows 10 which used to access these RD session host services. While the users access this particular thing from their environment, we had Windows 10 only capable of providing a single RDP session, yet supporting my Win32 and Office 365 professional applications, and it was updated semi-annually. For the first time, Microsoft introduced something called as the Windows 10 Enterprise, but for a multi-session operating system, meaning now you have your Windows 10 Enterprise operating system which can have multiple RDPs taken at the same time and giving you a collaborated experience of the Windows Server as well as your Windows 10 Enterprise. Earlier in 2018 and 2019, Microsoft had precisely focused on its collaboration with Citrix to offer these kind of services. So Citrix on Microsoft and VMware Horizon on Microsoft were some good examples of hosting applications and certain services from the cloud application platform on Citrix and Horizon. WVD coming up on the Azure platform with Citrix started providing some really great components like the experience of Windows, the typical kind of stuff that we used to do on our Windows 10 or our Windows Server RDS environment is something which is now possible to be done on my WVD session. There is a extensive image management based on the client operating system that I am looking for, and that particular operating system can be customized and deployed in my WVD so that the user gets the same experience as he has on his desktop. You can have your WVD sessions which are hosted in the cloud a part of your on-prem Active Directory, making it a hybrid environment altogether. And lastly, you have highly scalable and manageable environment which can be taken care of using your WVD sessions. Blending the security of the convergence of Microsoft ecosystem. Now, this is something which is really important because we have often seen that while migrating to cloud, the journey becomes a little scary for the end users or for the management of the organization, trying to identify how the access would be if the resources are given in the cloud, and at the same time, what about the security of the data or the organizational information. Having Microsoft 365 in place with options like conditional access and MFA, having Azure with more than 90 plus compliance offerings, and Microsoft investing huge by every passing year on improvising on the cybersecurity front, and at the same time having options of connecting your WVD in a hybrid environments altogether makes this solution amongst the top three ones that are offered in the IT industry today. When WVD is given a blend of the Microsoft 365 security and Azure compliance in place, it becomes the best solution that can be offered in the remote working situation. The environment that we are talking about are precisely now available from almost every region of Azure, and there are still new regions that are coming up, which are proposed and which are in the pipeline in the near future. Is one of those regions which already has a WVD availability. So that is the reason why Microsoft has been pushing remote working using this particular platform in the current situation while we are adapting to the modern workplace. When we talk about WVD, there are three major concerns because cost for RDS is extremely high. Plus, what about the new use cases, like where can I expect my users to use WVD in their environment? And thirdly, how about the security? When we talk about security, we already looked at the ecosystem that Microsoft has got to provide, a complete integration of M365 with Azure and Windows Virtual Desktop. Coming to the new use cases, you have different level of computes that are available as a part of WVD. These different level of computes that are available are for different segment of end users, right from developers to high-end graphic users to all our frontline workers who are going to probably be on field or trying to access the resources remotely, however it is. And with all these features, WVD comes as a solution minimizing your cost by at least 45% than what you might be paying in the on-prem environment. The most exciting part is that WVD is available to most of the customers under the licenses that they have procured. So precisely, it is available for the M365 business, M365 E3, E5, A3, A5 customers, even for F1 customers when it's about the client. If you have an on-prem server environment wherein you are using your RDS services, if you have RDS client access licenses also in place, definitely you are eligible to upgrade your environment to Windows Virtual Desktop, minimizing the cost and using features like hybrid benefit. WVD has complete support for thin clients, may that be Windows 10 IoT Enterprise or Linux-based iGel, and at the same time, WVD Linux SDK for a broader ecosystem. Each time that I will have my workers accessing the WVD session from Azure, new resources will be spinned up, new resources will be introduced, and once my users have accessed it completely, the resources will then be killed, or the my data end users data will be saved systematically, and then the environment will be shut down in order to make sure that we are only utilizing the resources the correct way with an optimized cost. There are ample of new features that WVD is introducing by every passing month. We can have a look over it on the roadmap of WVD. Some amongst them are integration with the Active Directory environment and the Azure file storage, improvisation in the admin experience, and integration of Teams in Windows Virtual Desktop. The best part of WVD is that majority of the resources are going to be managed by Microsoft. May that be the complete solution design, or may that be the underlying storage, network, and compute. The only thing that you manage is the client operating system, the front end applications that you need to host, and typically speaking, the kind of server platform you have in order to migrate from the on-prem to WVD. A smooth integration with the Azure portal. So as I said, you can simply just keep on provisioning the resources, and then you can manage your applications from there. So the portal itself, the unified dashboard itself, looks extremely simple to manage all your application and resources. So typically speaking, WVD is typically one of the best Windows experience that you can ever have across any device from any location. As I said, it is supported on all different operating systems and device platforms, and even on IoT components. Some key highlights of WVD are dynamic resolution. When you say dynamic resolution, each time that you try to change the size of the window, the resolution will get automatically adjusted, giving the user a complete in-window experience using the remote GPUs that they have in the backend designed for WVD. The remote FX solution that we had in our virtualization environment is the same thing that you have been offered over here. It will be surprising, but using WVD, I can have my multiple monitors from a single session also configured and accessed the way we do it on a physical machine as well. So it supports subsets of monitors, hosting of multiple applications, a complete support for Microsoft Teams. So when you talk about Microsoft Teams over here, you need not have it installed on your base machine. You can simply have it installed on the WVD session, and you can perform the meetings the way you do it on your normal machine. It will be having a lag as less as 2 seconds and not more than that. So bringing to you a real-time experience in spite of the application not being installed on your system. So you don't have to run it. I mean, you don't have to install it. You can simply run it from the cloud directly. There are multiple options for client administrations. You can manage them over Windows. You can manage it over the web. And you also have management and administration options on Android, macOS, and iOS. So not only is the accessibility of the applications versatile, but also the administration of these resources is versatile. By each passing day, as I said, things are just improvising. So one amongst them is the enhanced remote display driver. So in the early stages of WVD, what you had was something like this that you see on your left, where the frames per second used to be 11 or 10 frames per second. Coming to the enhanced remote display driver that has been now embedded, the frames per second are nearly 4 times what they used to be earlier, thereby making your experience as real time as it can when it comes to playing or buffering some content from the backend. Similarly, multimedia playback has been improvised because in a WVD session, it's always a concern that if I play a video or I'm trying to stream something, the content would play something like this, and at the same time, the CPU utilization might spike up to more than 20 to 30%. The new enhancement that has been done has typically improved the way the video would play absolutely real time and seamless, making the end user experience fantastic, and minimizing the resource utilization by at least 1/10 of it. So whatever my processor utilization was used to be earlier, like 30-40%, now it satisfies the same thing with as low as 2%, 3%, or at the max 5%. Of a global network on the Microsoft platform, Microsoft Azure being the only cloud provider having the largest fiber coverage across the globe, having the maximum number of content delivery network endpoints in the cloud platform, and at the same time having the maximum number of express route partners across the globe, make it seamless accessing WVD in any part, any region of the globe, making sure that the user's experience is not compromised even when they travel. So while you would want to implement WVD in your environment, you can simply start it by identifying who are the users who are accessing it, what are the types of applications that they are trying to access. While trying to access those applications, are they accessing it in the correct way? Is it getting your hardware an overload? Would you want to minimize on it? Would you want to minimize on the cost? And questions like these. Once you have all of these in place, that is when you will be able to design and optimize the solution for WVD for the end customer. So that brings us, guys, to an end of the understanding of how WVD would work. We can still help you with an extensive solution design of what WVD is all about, how it can be implemented. You can always get in touch with our team, with our help desk team, to reach out to us, have your questions answered, identify how this can be given to your end customers as a value add, and based on that, if at all there is any kind of a deployment that is required to be done, we are here as Redington to help you on the same. So that brings us to an end of the understanding of WVD, guys. If there are any questions, let's get those questions answered, else we should be good to close for the day. Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, there was a disruption in the internet connection, so my lab also, which I was
Okay,
creating, got
okay. Now
distorted.
you're audible. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yes.